Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. In this video, we're looking at the MLB slate for Wednesday. We have 7 games starting at 6:10. I have a couple of early games as well, just focus on the main slate in this video. So let's go ahead and get right into it. As always, appreciate if you guys hit the like button, subscribe if you have not already, and let's get right into it. So looking at the totals and the projected lineups here, we have one maybe rain game here, and that is the Boston game. It is going to be a good one to target offense, so hopefully if that rain does clear up, then we can kind of go ahead and stack up a couple of pieces. I like the Blue Jays side against Garrett Richards. And I definitely can look at the Boston Red Sox. They've been on fire to start after they got swept on the opening series by the Orioles. You can definitely look to them against Trent Thornton, especially Verdugo is affordable. You know, Martinez is expensive, but we have some cheap pitchers that we can look to on this slate, like Peterson, that could allow you to pay up for him if this game does give it a go. And then you have Hernandez batting leadoff below 4K, and you even have value at the bottom of the order with some pop with Renfroe and Cordero. So definitely, if that game plays, that's going to be one to target. But my favorite right now is the Reds here against Merrill Kelly. Kelly's been giving up a lot of contact this year so far in his few starts, giving up over a 500 slugging on both sides of the plate, over a 300 average to both sides of the plate. ERA is high, and the xFIP is really high, especially to righties. Only managed to strike out 15% of them, and against lefties, not much better. 11.8% is actually much worse. Giving up a lot of walks to righties, giving up a lot of bombs. 2.25 home run per nine. The hard hit percentage is very high to lefties, pretty high against righties as well. So definitely looking to stack up this Reds lineup here. They are down a couple of their better bats without Mustakis on the IL, and then Castellanos got suspended for those 2 games. But we still have some good value here. Tyler Naquin's been killing the ball. You have Suarez, Votto's been hot, and then you have value with Jonathan India, Nick Senzel, and then even Jesse Winker at the top. So right now I have to go with the Reds as the top stack, and then another stack that I do like is the Tigers here. Only a 4.2 total, but Mitch Keller is not very it's not very good of a pitcher right now. And this Tigers lineup isn't the best, but they do have some value that we can look to, especially guys like Jimar Candelario. You have Grossman batting leadoff, $3,300. Ramos as a good catcher option. And then you have Akil Baddoo, who's been in a little bit of a slump, but he's still very affordable. And you even have like Nunez slash Scope as guys with some pop that don't hit for a lot of average, but I do think they should be able to put up some runs against Mitch Keller. Not a ton of other really good offenses to target on the slate, unless, especially if that Boston game gets postponed. So far, he's given up 654 slugging to lefties. The xFIP is super high against lefties so far this year, and I think that's been something that he's kind of struggled with his whole career. Last year, 436 slugging to lefties. Was pretty good against righties. 760 xFIP last year. Just look at his career numbers, giving up a 331 average to lefties. So looking at some of these lefty bats, I think makes a lot of sense. 565 xFIP only. Strikeout rate is 10% lower. The fly ball is a little bit higher, and the hard hit is a little bit lower, but the xFIP kind of speaks for itself. So looking at some of these lefties in particular, you have Candelario switch hitter, Grossman switch hitter, even Castro. And I don't mind going with Akil Baddoo bottom of the order looks like a great play now. And we'll see. This game doesn't have a total here. I do like, you could look to some of these pitchers here. Junis as a value pitcher, Walker as a value pitcher. But I do like some of these bats. Like Soler is always a good one-off, even though he's been awful so far. You could probably go up to Merrifield if you wanted to pay up at a second base position. And on the Rays side, you have good value in Yandy Diaz, especially if he bats cleanup. Good first base option. You have some value at the bottom of the order with Margot and Kevin Kiermaier if it needs some savings. Going back to DraftKings here, looking at the pitching options, you have not a true ace on this slate. You have Savali as your most expensive pitcher. He definitely has some talent, but I don't know if I want to pay 10K for him against this loaded White Sox team. So I think I'll save a little bit of money and go down to like a Tyler Mahle against the Diamondbacks. He's been showing off some good strikeout stuff this year. We know with him, it's always been lefties that give him a lot of trouble. And looking at this lineup here, you do have a lot of lefties, but I just think that 3-7 total for him. Hopefully, he's kind of been able to correct some of those issues against lefties. Look at his numbers so far in the starts this year. If they still have those massive splits that we know he's been prone to in the years past. So far this year he's been actually very good against lefties. So that is a great sign because he was struggling against lefties a lot. 329 xFIP is a little bit higher than his xFIP against righties, but that's still excellent. Let's see, last year he was he was improving a bit last year. Career numbers definitely a lot worse against lefties. 495 slugging and a 531 xFIP. But over the past couple years, he's definitely been improved on that, so that is a good sign. I'll go ahead and plug him in with some confidence. He gives you a lot of upside in terms of strikeouts compared to guys like Kluber, Zach Davies. Don't want to pay 88 for him. If I was going to target a pitcher in that game, I'd probably go down to like a Peterson, who's $7,100. Cubs have one of the lowest totals on the slate. The weather in this game is not very good for hitting. You have about 40-degree temperatures, like 5-mile-per-hour winds blowing in. 3.4 total for the Cubbies. Definitely looking at Peterson as a value pitcher, especially with the Cubs have been giving up some big fantasy points to pitchers this year. And Peterson does have some upside, although he can get rocked at times. So Malley, Peterson as my pitchers. Looking at the Cincinnati Reds as a prime stack. First base, if this Boston game does play, I like Vlad Guerrero. You can go down to a Joey Votto in part of your Cincinnati stacks. You can save some more money and go in the 3K range for a Yandy Diaz, 33, maybe a Jonathan Scope, maybe a Mike Ford at the bottom. Second base, the top end is Merrifield, always in play basically, unless he's facing off against an ace. Just gives you a lot of upside with hitting for a high average, hits for some pop, and he has the ability to steal multiple bases every single game. You can scroll down a little bit here for like a Jonathan India. I don't think he'll get too much love. It's $3,900. I like the Reds a lot. Maybe we'll get a nice bump in the batting order with them missing a few pieces today. He's a guy that doesn't have a ton of pop, but you can get on base. You get some RBIs, and I think he has a little bit of speed. Hasn't really shown that off this year. Maybe that is something he's working on. Jonathan India, 39. I think he is very much in play. Does give you some upside compared to other guys in this range. And then I don't think I need to go that cheap at this position, so stick with him. Third base, Devers looks amazing if that game does play. Hopefully we get some sort of news early, because definitely don't want to risk that and then have that postponed. But I like Jimar Candelario, $4,100. Biggio's also in play, $3,900. Candelario is perfect in part of your Detroit stacks. He bats like second and third in the batting order here. He gives you some pop. And we know Mitch Keller's been garbage against lefties. Switch hitter for him. I think it's a perfect spot to target Candelario at a very affordable price tag. Shortstop, it is Bo Bichette, Suarez, and like Bogarts. Right now, Suarez's game is safest. He's 53. He doesn't hit for a lot of average, but he has a ton of pop. He's better against lefties, like a lot better, but I think he's still in play against Merrill Kelly. You can go down here for a Lindor, 46. He's cheap. He's been struggling this year, but he's been unlucky with the BABIP. Not been striking out much. Only 3 strikeouts and 41 at bats. So with all the contact he's been making, you would expect him to have a lot higher average than 171. But just hasn't been able to find the holes in the defense so far. That's definitely going to come soon. So he's definitely a good one-off play, $4,600. And then you can go Nico Goodrum as a value piece, $3,400. Moving on to the outfield. Got a couple of the top-end guys are out. Cunha, I don't know if he'll play today. He's day-to-day. We'll see. He's been unbelievable to start the year. 7 bombs already. Castellanos would have been an awesome play today, but he is out. So we can go with Tyler Naquin. He's $5,100, but he's been amazing as well. Him and Castellanos have been hitting for a ton of pop. They've already combined for, I believe, 11 bombs. And Naquin should bat second in the order here. He gets a lefty-righty matchup against Merrill Kelly. I think he looks like a great spend-up on this slate. And then other guys that I like are mainly some of the Reds, some of the Tigers, and then if this Boston game does play, I'll look to target some of them. But the second guy is going to be a super affordable guy that bats leadoff for the Tigers, and that's Robbie Grossman. $3,300 for him. Back when he was with the A's, he has some pop, gets on base, strikes out an okay amount. I mean, striking out 32% so far this season. But I still like him against Merrill Kelly. He's also a switch hitter, just like Candelario, so he gets the platoon advantage against Keller, who is a bad against lefties. So this is it for the DK video. Let's go ahead and talk about FanDuel. FanDuel here, pitching-wise, I still like Malley a lot. I still like Peterson a little bit. I think Malley looks better than Peterson, just $300 separated in price, and then I don't really want to go all the way up to Savali. At least I'll be able to spend up for some bats here. You could take a shot on Ian Anderson against a potent Yankees team, but the Yankees have been struggling this year. They strike out a lot. So he definitely could have an outlier game and just rack up the Ks there. And then Kluber's only 65. If you wanted to take a shot, he's been bad. The Braves are definitely not a good offensive target any pitcher against. But maybe if Acuna's not in the lineup, you could take a shot with Corey Kluber. But I feel pretty good about Tyler Mahle based on the numbers that I've seen. Catcher slash first base, Vlad Guerrero has been unbelievable. So far this season, he's batting, I believe, north of 400 or north of 360. 4 home runs for him. Batting average dipped below 400 last couple games, but he's still a very solid option. You can go affordable. I don't know why the Detroit game isn't on the slate here. This starts 6:40 start, so it should be on the slate, but FanDuel doesn't have that, so we're looking at a lot of the Reds hitters here on FanDuel, and then possibly looking at some. Hopefully that Toronto game plays because we want to get some hitters in that game. But right now at this position, you have Barnhart cheap, who's been hitting the ball well. You have Abreu who's cheap at 3,000. I'm gonna go with Joey Votto. Part of a red stack. He has been hitting the ball well, up to 3 bombs on the season. He's batted a couple of multiple hits in his recent games, 3-2-2. So he's definitely seeing the ball well, and he's at a very nice price tag at only $2,800. Second base here, you can go with Merrifield. It gives you a ton of upside. I like Merrifield a lot more than like Joey Wendell. Simeon, if that game plays the best leadoff, he looks really good. You can go down for Jonathan India, who's $2,800. I think he looks appealing. Kevin Biggio, $2,700. Also, most definitely in play with his power. And then you can go. Torres has been showing off like no power so far, but he's affordable. Then Nick Senzel is cheap. He's been bad. He's not been in the lineup some of these games, but he's just sometimes been pitch hitting. At only $2,300, I think he's worth a shot, maybe in the outfield or the utility spot. Third base, it is Vlad Guerrero, Devers. Devers, if that game plays, looks probably one of the best options here. I can go down to Suarez right now at just $3,100. He's cheap, but that's a lot of pop. A good spot against Merrill Kelly, both sides of the plate. So he is going to be the third baseman that I have right now. And then you can go Gio as a cheap play, Andy Diaz as a very cheap play. But going with an $8,800 pitcher, you already have the ability to pay up at some of these positions. Then in the outfield is Tyler Naquin is $4,000. He's expensive, but I'm gonna go ahead and put him in. I don't know if that many people pay $4K for him, but I do like the Reds. They're my favorite stack, so it makes some sense for a guy that does have a lot of power, and he should be batting second without Castellanos tonight. And then a value play that I like here. No, we can't go to Robbie Grossman, but we can go to a $3,100 Austin Meadows or a $3,000 Randy Arozarena. Both guys cheap. Both guys with a lot of pop, and especially Austin Meadows hits righties really well. He has a lot of pop, already 4 home runs on the season, and it's a really good spot against Junis, who does give up some long balls, as we've seen in the past years with him. So Meadows looks like a perfect play, and you can even go to Arozarena. So without having the Tigers on FanDuel, I think the Rays right now with the weather in Boston look like the second stack. If that game happens to clear up throughout the day, it would be that game I would like to stack up. But that's it for now in terms of the core plays on DK/FanDuel. Thank you guys for watching. Best of luck tonight, and I'll see you all next time.